Hello. How are we doing? Welcome to Meditation Breaks. This is on this channel. We learn all about meditation. I'm Keith. I am your meditation teacher here on this channel. And each week we kind of pick a topic that's applicable to our lives in general, and then we look at how meditation relates to this, or can impact this, or what kind of benefits we can get from meditation. So we take a kind of a practical approach to um, understanding all that meditation can do, which I think is a really important point of meditation, because when we first hear about it, we're like, oh, it's good for relaxing, and it is. But there's a lot you can do with it. So I like to spread it around a little bit. But if you're like, hey, cool, but I don't know how to meditate, Keith, don't worry. Every live stream, I always start with an intro to what meditation is, how does it work, how do we do it, why bother, all these questions that you might have if you're new to this practice. And then we are going to do a very short meditation together. It'll be like a breathing meditation, pretty standard. Probably like between 5 and 7 minutes, pretty short. And that's to kind of like get everyone's feet wet. Oh, this is what meditation is. Okay. And then we'll go into our topic. And I always close out with a meditation that is related to that topic. Cool. Last thing I'll say before we get going is, if at any time you have a question, a comment, a thought that you'd like to share, you can do it. You can use the chat feature here, and as soon as I see it, I'll do my best to see it immediately, but I will respond as soon as I'm able. You don't have to wait for me to be like, I don't have any questions or anything like that. You can just go ahead and ask. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, or you just want to ask something to me one-on-one, or you think of something after class ends, which always happens to me when I'm like, oh yeah, I should have asked that. I'm going to get my email out towards the end of today's session. You can email me. Antonio. All right, I'll get back to you after this class. Cool. Okay, so let's start by asking the big question: what is meditation? We hear this word a lot. And like, even if we have never meditated, we do have an idea of what it is. This is what I'll call our generic image. Like your mind, if I was like, think of a tree, your mind's like, oh, tree. Like, and your mind kind of pictures a tree, but it's so fast that you don't even realize it. But like, this is kind of like our generic image of tree, and everyone's tree is a little different. Now, meditation, interestingly enough, I feel like most of our generic images are pretty similar, and it's somebody sitting cross-legged on the floor like this. Let's just say it for what it is. That's our generic image of meditation. If you were to Google meditation, guess what you'd find? Countless images of that. So this is how we've come to identify meditation. And sitting down in that position, that kind of classic position, with your eyes closed, this is a way to meditate, but it is not what meditation is, if that makes sense. Like, meditation isn't a seating position. So if meditation goes beyond that generic image, then what is it? And on this channel, I like to present meditation in the lens of a technique that you can train in to become really familiar with something. You're probably like, well, that's very unhelpful. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's kind of a vague definition, and almost by design, because there's so much you can actually do with it. So what do I mean by becoming familiar with something. You, all of you, have a lifetime of practice becoming familiar with stuff, right? When you were born, not familiar with anything, right? If somebody was like, "Hey, what's the score of the Mets game?" I don't know. What's a Met? Like you didn't know. You didn't know any of that stuff, right? And so throughout the course of our life, learning to walk, learning to ride a bike, read, write, talk, all these things, they're all stuff that we have become increasingly familiar with the more we practice them, right? So I like to use tying your shoe, kind of funny, maybe. Everyone here is the best shoe tire that ever lived, right? Like shoe tying is something that if currently it's hard for us to imagine it being complicated, but there was a time where it was literally impossible. We didn't even know what a shoe or shoelace was, but when we did, and then somebody's like, "Hey, boy, do I have a puzzle for you. Here's a string. It's one string, and you have to make a bow out of it that's taut, so it supports your foot." And we were like trying to do it, and we make a knot, right? But a little bit of practice, a little bit of effort, maybe we YouTube video, and it starts to click, right? And by that, I mean, we start to develop a familiarity with the mechanics required to tie one's shoe, both physical, but mental as well. And this relationship of the more familiar you are with something, the kind of like more second nature it becomes, less effort it takes, it shows up more readily, all those things. That is the essence of what we're after with meditation. This is, in my opinion, our human superpower. We have the ability to take something that we know nothing about and become so deeply familiar with it that what was once something that required a lot of effort now is seemingly effortless, right? And that's pretty cool. But like most superheroes, they do have a kryptonite, and it's kind of also this, because if you think about something like anxiety, right? We'll talk a little bit about that today, but that too is a kind of example of how familiarization can lead to something showing up extremely readily without much effort, right? And again, we'll talk some more about that today. So all of the things that you do fall into this category. And so all of the things is a lot of things. And so you can see how this concept is actually pretty important to think about, right? And to practice, right? And the point of meditation is to start to choose what we want to be familiar with, right? Do we want to be so familiar with being patient that patience starts to show up without as much effort, right? Hey, Cynthia. Meditation is an exercise in choice, taking ownership over your own thoughts, because right now it kind of seems like our mind is deciding what we're focusing on, like what we're honing in on, right? Maybe we're watching a show, our favorite show, and then our mind is like, "Oh, we're going to worry about work. Remember that project coming up for work?" And we're like, "No, I'm watching a show." But our mind's like, "Nah, we're going to do this." It seems like our mind is dictating to us. And meditation is a way to start to train our mind like it's a pet, kind of. We've let our mind pet jump on the couch for a while. And so now we're like, hey, what if you didn't jump on the couch all the time? So this is kind of what we're after with meditation, and that's all well and good, and maybe it sounds interesting to you, but how the heck do we do it? So when you begin learning how to meditate, generally you're taught breathing meditation, and all meditation is the exact same. Like, I know there's like different styles, but it's all basically doing the same thing. So breathing meditation is a meditation where the focal point, the thing you are honing in on, is your breath, right? But you can meditate on anything: brushing your teeth, a thought, right? Like remembering something, you just using your imagination. There's no limit. The only kind of prerequisite for something to be considered meditation is we are choosing to focus on it single pointedly, noticing when our attention is no longer focusing on it, and bringing our attention back. This is called single pointed concentration. And it is a way to start to really become familiar with things by first clearing your mind of all the clutter. Your mind is constantly juggling thoughts. Oh, look over here. Oh, I got to do that for work tomorrow. Oh, did I leave the oven on? Oh, like, it's in our mind all day. And, you know, it's good that it thinks. I mean, kind of its job. It's, you know, fantastic at it. But sometimes we want to encourage it to kind of slow down a little, right? So we're going to do some breathing meditation here together. And like I said, it's just these 3 steps. We're choosing to focus single pointedly on our own breath. And we're this is like setting an intention. And it's just to start to encourage us to realize we can do this when we want to, not just like whenever we're like in the zone or whatnot. So we're choosing to focus single pointedly on our own thoughts. Sorry, on our own breath. Noticing when our attention drifts from focusing on our own breath, bringing our attention back. That's it. Little cycle. It does not matter how many times you get distracted. The point here is not to never get distracted, but to notice when you are. That's it. Cool? All right. So we're going to do some meditation. I am not sitting on the floor, though you can if you want. Maybe you love sitting on the floor. Go for it. I'm in a chair. You can be in a chair. You can do whatever you want. You want to lay down? Go lay down. Doesn't matter. Just get comfy and go ahead and close your eyes. Closing your eyes, also not really required, but I think it helps with some of the visual distractions that tend to crop up. And we're going to do about a 5-minute breathing meditation together. Okay. Whenever you start a meditation, first take a moment to check in with yourself. Actually ask, how am I feeling right now? What is my mind up to? Maybe you're feeling a little worn out after a long day. Or maybe you're feeling energetic. Happy, sad, whatever it is perfect. We're not trying to change anything. We're not even analyzing. We're just noticing. This is a really important technique known as mindfulness. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts on a moment-to-moment basis for the purpose of being able to respond skillfully to those thoughts. Take a moment, check in. Having done that, we can now set an intention, a little promise to ourselves. And that promise is to focus single pointedly, exclusively on our own breath to the best of our ability for the next couple of minutes. Let that promise sit in your mind. This is your only task right now. All other things can wait. For the next few minutes, it's just you and your breath. With that intention firmly in your mind, we can act on it. Go ahead and turn your full undivided attention to your own breathing. In and out, very gently, very naturally. No need to alter the way you normally breathe. You don't have to take big, deep inhales or forcefully exhale air, however you normally breathe. That's what I want you to do. In and out, following each breath. At some point, often rather quickly, you may notice that your mind is starting to drift a bit. It's no longer exclusively focused on your own breath. Maybe you're thinking about something that you have to do later, after this class ends, or something you have to do tomorrow. Whenever you notice that your mind has drifted in this way, you can just say not right now to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. These thoughts are not unwanted. They're just thoughts. But not now. Imagine yourself picking up these thoughts, placing them beside you. And with those thoughts waiting patiently beside you, turn your full undivided attention back to your own breath, breathing in, breathing out, very gently, very naturally. Single pointedly focus on each moment of your breath. Each day we breathe countless times, all day long, even when we're sleeping. And of all these times, very few, if any, are we paying full attention to breathing. What happens if we do? What happens if you take a moment and follow each and every moment of your breath? Every time you breathe in, can you watch as the air is taken from the atmosphere? Visualize it enter your body. Feel it travel into your lungs. Feel your chest expand to make room. Your shoulders rise. This is breathing in. And what about when you exhale? Can you feel your shoulders fall? Your chest contract? Can you watch as that same air moves back through your body, out into the atmosphere, where it dissipates, mixing with all the other pockets of air? All of this happening in a matter of seconds. Breathing in, breathing out, very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your own breath as many times as you need to. This process of choosing to focus single pointedly on your own breath, noticing when your attention drifts, bringing your attention back, that is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are a meditator. You're training your mind to tap into its natural peaceful state. You're training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. How wonderful. What a good use of your time. Breathing in and breathing out. Gently, naturally. Just for the last few moments here, just sit with your breath. Just enjoy taking a little time for yourself. Okay. Whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. Congrats, you did it. You meditated. Um, it's 3 steps, but that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? Like instructionally, it is. But um, if you were like, "Whoa, my mind is like all over the place," well, welcome to the club. And um, this is the first hurdle of your meditation practice, because when we feel that, like when we notice that our mind has been getting distracted, we feel like, oh, well, I'm not good at meditating. Right? We're all equally amazing meditators, right? There's no good meditation, no bad meditation. Sitting down and practicing is the practice. This is a hard thing to kind of get behind, because, human desire to do things correct or whatnot, but it's really, I think, an important point to take away with you as you start to practice on your own, that there is no barometer of success of a meditation, right? You sitting down and practicing is it. Some days you may be a little more distracted, some days you may not. It happens. Over time, you may notice that it's starting to get easier for your mind to kind of settle in. Because right now, what we just did is not familiar to you. Unless you've been like doing this for a really long time, in which case maybe it is. But sitting down and being like, I'm going to focus single pointedly on one thing, and that's my breath. And like, we don't do this. We multitask all day long. I'm multitasking right now. Look at me move my hands while I'm speaking. And so our mind has had a lot of practice juggling, not a lot of practice focusing on one thing. So it just takes a little time, practice, patience. Just like anything else. It's no special trick. Okay, cool. So that's breathing meditation. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions on it, feel free to ask. I'm going to move on to our topic for today. And our topic for today is one that I think is really interesting, which you're probably like, whatever. I'll decide if it's interesting, and you're correct. But this is always a like facet of meditation that I have found to be really cool. And what we're going to kind of look at today is utilizing meditation, not just for like focusing on our breath and relaxing, but for thinking. So essentially meditation, we relax our mind and then we have a choice. We can be like, okay, cool, I'm relaxed. Or we can be like, okay, my mind now is a little more relaxed, a little more clear, focused. What if I use that more clear mind to think about something? A situation that's bothering me, something, anything, right? Hey, Georgette, you made it. And so today, the thing that we're going to kind of like contemplate on is this idea of naming or labeling. Same thing, right? And how labels, names of things impact how we experience those things. Little bit of like an esoteric kind of topic, but cool. So what is a name? My name is Keith. Right? I said that at the beginning of the live stream. My name is Keith. Keith, let's pretend you only know one, and it's me. You probably know others that are great, but in this hypothetical example, I'm the only one. And someone's like, oh, you know Keith? And that name, that label, Keith, is used to refer to this. All of this. My face, my arms, my mind, my everything. Names are labels that are used to refer to something, a group of things, a person, or whatnot, right? And they're pretty prevalent in our life. They're kind of everywhere. When we think of the word name, instantly we think of people, right? Or an animal. Like, well, what's the name of that? You know, oh, that's my dog, Skipper. You know, or even like, oh, that's a snake. That's a name, right? This is a word made by somebody. Somebody said this word, right? And is like, this word represents this animal. Just look at it. It's slithering, which is also a label. But somebody imbued this label on the being known as snake. And now when we think of snake, instantly, like magic, we have an image of that very thing, right? Objects, car. The word car is a name, right? Like, what is a car? It's like a bunch of parts that are together, and that's a car. It's a label, right? Pizza, ugh, delicious. Pizza is a name. It's a label. Um, uh, Names can also just be used as descriptors. Huge, tiny, happy, sad. These are all names. They're labels. Labels are everywhere. Lucia, words are so powerful. Yes, they are. Um, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Um, and I totally agree with you. They dictate a lot of our experience, right? And so thinking about them at a little bit of a deeper level can lead to some really awesome, kind of like empowering moments in your life, right? So, um, for the most part, just hit my microphone. For the most part, labels are really important. They allow us to communicate things easily. If we had no label, no names, I'm like, I'm thinking of this animal, and I know I'm saying labels. I'm thinking of this animal, and it's and like you had to describe all of the different things of an animal without just saying snake. Like, we're gonna be talking for a while, right? And so labels allow us to communicate easier, and so much so that we often don't investigate things beyond their name. So, for example, you have just returned from vacation. Congrats. And you are at the airport and you are looking for your car. Where did I put this thing? Where did I park this thing? I don't know if that's ever happened to you. It certainly has to me. And so you're looking around for your car. And instantly, when you say your car, you have an image of what that means. Your car is a collection of things that combine to make your car. And you're looking for it. And great, you find it, right? And you are at your car, and then I pop out of nowhere. I'm like, and you're like, yeah, who are you? And I go, hey, I have a question for you. I don't know why I'm hiding in the parking lot. I go, hey, touch your car. And you do. You're like, okay, weirdo. And you touch your car. And I go, no, you're touching the door. All right. Okay. I'm like, try something else. And then you're like, okay, here. No, you're touching the windshield. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to point to my car? Because car isn't a thing. Car isn't an entity. Car is a name. You can't point at it because you're pointing at a part of this thing, right? And then when you're pointing at the door, you're also kind of just, well, now you're pointing at the paint. So now we can keep going deeper and deeper, right? So there is a lot of investigation that lives beyond name. But if every time we look, put our hand in our car, we're like, am I really touching the car? Or is it like, so we can't do anything with our life. But taking some time to investigate names gives us a new perspective on how things exist in the world around us. And while this car example is like, okay, whatever, like, cool. I'm going to give you a real kind of example that I this is an example from me, my life. So I mentioned this a good amount, but I have like anxiety or phobia really of itching. Now, you probably don't. You get an itch and you're probably like, whatever, if you even notice it. And as a child, I also I didn't even know what an itch was, right? It's just like a sensation, but there was no name for it in my mind, right? First time it happened, I'm like, whatever, you know? Second time, kind of annoying. And then at some point, my mind imbued a label on itching. And that label was bad. Literally, the word bad, right? My mind labeled itching as bad, or like, undesirable, or like whatever, uncomfortable. So much so that even just thinking about it makes me anxious about it. Is itching bad? If we don't investigate beyond name, for me, yes, right? My mind has imbued this label on it. But if I investigate, is itching bad? I start to see that there's a lot of cracks in that definition, right? Itching is a label or a sensation that happens. I imbued bad on it. My mind, me, labeled this thing as bad, right? Itching isn't bad. Itching is itching, right? And this is a example of how labels begin to craft our story, right? Over time, labels solidify into more than just name, more than just labels. They become reality. They become your truth, your reality, right? And my reality right now is itching is bad, right? Or at least my perceived, reality without me investigating it. Labels tie directly into self-image, right? So self-image is the version of yourself that you believe is the real you, right? You ever have a friend, they're like, man, I'm such a screw up. And you're like, no, you're not. You're awesome. You're like my best friend. And like, so in their mind, their self-image, the version of them that they believe is the real one, is of a screw up. And we're looking at it and not seeing that. Right? Which one of those is true? Right? Just like itching. Itching is itching. Person is person. Right? It's these labels are imbued upon them. Right? So for me, something I've struggled with a lot with self-image is this notion that I'm not a hard worker, right? I'm a little bit like lackadaisical, and I've often kind of felt that way about myself. Now, this idea of being a hard worker, well, like, what does that phrase mean? Well, in the parlance of our time, generally, when we think of somebody, oh, they're a hard worker, we mean they like work hard at work. I don't know. Like, and so that's kind of like where my mind is going. But over time, pretty recently, I've started to realize that it's not that I'm not a hard worker. It's just that I am a hard worker at the things that are really interesting to me. And that isn't always my career. That isn't always the job I'm at, right? So this self-image, this label of me being not a hard worker is something that has been with me I'm 40 now, I've been with me my whole life, right? And only recently by investigating it beyond the name do I start to see that this attribute that I think is not flexible is actually flexible. It's not the essence of me, right? Um, Words are powerful, to quote Lucia. And these labels, these names, if we don't investigate them, sometimes they can limit what we think is possible, right? Things become rigid and not flexible, right? And I'm not saying don't label anything. I'm just saying think about it once in a while. Like when we think about anxiety, like whatever you might be worried about or whatnot, right? There's difference between I'm really anxious about this project coming up, and what is anxiety? Like, what does that word mean, right? What does it mean to do a project? Like, investigating all of these things creates space between us and this thing that's, really problematic for us. And we start to look at it differently. And sometimes we look at it with a little bit more interest instead of fear. So, um, I want to do a meditation together. And this meditation is all about this idea of labeling and starting to dispel some of the concreteness of the labels that we've come to know. Cool? All right. So you can go ahead and get comfy. Once again, sit in whatever seating arrangement you like. Close your eyes, and we're going to do a little meditation here together. Okay. Take a moment and check in with yourself. It's not a comparison to before. Before is done. Just now. What's your mind up to? Now, having checked in, you can once again make a little promise to yourself. That promise is to focus single pointedly, exclusively on the meditation that we're about to do. To the best of your ability, following along with what I'm saying. Let that promise sit in your mind. It is your only task right now. With that promise firmly in your mind, we can begin by doing a little breathing meditation to relax the busyness in our mind. So I'd like you to turn your full undivided attention once again to your own breath. Breathing in and out gently, naturally.
And if at any point you notice that your attention is drifting a bit, no longer exclusively on your own breath, we can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. Bring your attention back to breathing. In and out very gently, very naturally, as you begin to relax into your seat. Having taken a little time to relax, a little time to settle our thoughts, we can then use this slightly more clear, relaxed mind state to think about something, to contemplate something. And just like breathing meditation, this too is meditation. Your goal is to focus single pointedly, exclusively on the scene that I am setting, and follow along. I'd like you to bring to mind the most beautiful blue sky that you could possibly imagine. The sky stretches for miles. There's not a cloud in sight. Just the subtle gradient of deep blue. Boundless. Imagine it. Just bring it to mind. The image of a wide open blue sky. And as you're sitting there, admiring this blue sky, you start to notice some clouds rolling in. Just imagine it. These clouds, dark and gray, getting a little closer. Eventually, so close that we can no longer see the blue sky. And so we, in this situation, would say the sky is cloudy. The sky is cloudy. Is that true? Is the sky cloudy? The sky itself is never cloudy. If you've ever been in an airplane, you know as you get above the clouds, that vast blue sky is still there, untouched, unfazed by the weather below. The sky is not cloudy. The sky is experiencing some moments of clouds. But the essence of the sky, its blueness, its vastness, its boundlessness, all of those things that you had pictured, they're still there. They never left. Unchanged. This phrase, this label, the sky is cloudy. We say it all the time. We look up, like the sky is cloudy. And in terms of communicating that weather to other people, that can be really helpful. But it can also be helpful to investigate, is that true? Is the sky cloudy? And what we find is that it's not as cut and dry as we once thought. We find that the sky is blue, always, forever. And it experiences different things. What a beautiful way to approach your life. To investigate labels, to find if there's anything beneath. To find that you are very much like this sky. For the last few moments, just sit with this. Whatever you're feeling is perfect. Just sit with it. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. The sky? Sky is not cloudy. The sky is the sky, right? Itching is not bad. Itching is itching. It's the same concept, right? So this meditation can be used for a lot of different things. Resilience, again, there's a lot you can learn from thinking about that. In this case, one takeaway is this idea of labeling and like how the phrase "the sky is cloudy" is so commonplace for us, and it has a purpose for communicating a state. But it is so commonplace that we often forget that the sky is not cloudy. The sky is blue. You're looking at clouds, right? And so it's kind of like a weird, subtle difference, but it is a pretty impactful difference, right? It's looking at things with a little bit more objectivity, which can help with a lot of things in our life: anxiety, frustration, etc. Cool. That's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. If you did, great. Come on back next week. We're going to talk about something else. All right. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't figured out what label to give it. But it'll be meditation. I can guarantee it. So come on back next week, same time. Thank you to anyone who subscribed to my channel during the live stream or has done so previously or chooses to do so in the future. It is very helpful to me, and it is really meaningful to get all the support from that I get from you guys. And subscribing is free, doesn't cost anything, and just lets the algorithm that is too complicated for me to understand know that people are interested in this, right? Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks, Lori. Georgette, thank you. Lucia, thank you. And if you are like, hey, you know what? He's on to something here with this car talk, this name stuff, and you'd like to do a one-on-one
private instruction. It doesn't have to be on this topic. It can be on anything you want. Like you're like, I don't want to talk about labels. I want to talk about frustration. We can focus on that. So if you're interested in doing a one-on-one session, email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat now, and we'll find a time to do it. I do it all virtually, so it's pretty laid back. My email is keith@meditationbreaks.com. Keith at, the second time I'm saying it is me typing it. The keith@meditationbreaks.com. This is both one of my favorite and least favorite parts of this last stream is when I have to type this because I'm so worried I'm gonna screw it up. Looks okay. That's my email. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about meditation in general, anything we talked about today, or you want to set up a one-on-one or just want to say hi. That's my email. And Antonia, I will be getting back to you after this class ends. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for taking the time out of your busy day to spend it with little old me. I love teaching, and I couldn't do that without you guys being so generous with your time. I really do appreciate it, and thank you. And hopefully everyone has a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Okay.